In my last video I covered the best levels from every single LittleBigPlanet game. But have you ever wondered which are actually the worst levels from every game? Well, get ready, because today I'm going to take you into some interesting memories, as we are going to be looking on the worst possible levels from every single LittleBigPlanet. So take a seat and enjoy. The first LittleBigPlanet has an iconic story mode, with some of the best and hardest levels in the franchise. But even though you might think that there are no bad levels in this game, one level says otherwise. And I'm talking about Elephant Temple. Elephant Temple is definitely the worst level from the first game. The gameplay is very boring, as all you do is wait for the elephant that moves like crazy slow while doing simple platforming. The visuals are a bit plain, and the level compared to the other ones is just not that impressive. The difficulty of this level is not bad and the music is good, but aside from that I don't think that the level is good enough. The level design is a bit repetitive and the obstacles are not that creative. Now, before you go ahead and defend the level, understand that this level overall is not that bad. I'm not saying that this level is unplayable, but it's just that it doesn't have any replayability, and when you actually compare it to levels like the Bunker or Skate to Victory, this one fails to impress. If you ever played LittleBigPlanet for PSP, you would know that one of the most confusing levels in this game is Extraction. This particular level is the worst, and it is one of the most annoying levels in the franchise. The difficulty and the lack of guides make it a pain to play. The section when you need to enter the code to proceed was hands down one of the most confusing things. And the problem was that sometimes even when you actually did enter the code correctly, it just wouldn't work. I remember watching a YouTube video on how to get past the level, as I just could not get through it. The visuals are not that bad and the music is great, but as I said, these things do not make for the problems this level has, and that's why I think it is the worst level of LittleBigPlanet PSP. When I stumbled on Sackboy Prehistoric Moves to find the worst level, I actually was a bit surprised, as this game has no bad level. I mean, they are consistently good. Maybe because there are only 7 levels in total, but whoever made them did a fine job. However, my least favorite level is Inside Big Rex. The level is kinda annoying and the visuals are not that impressive either. The gameplay is good though, but as I said, this comes down to personal preferences, and for me, this one is the worst out of this game. I know what you are thinking. How does the second LittleBigPlanet have a bad level? Well, it actually does, and for me it's one of the worst levels in this list. And I'm talking about none other than Got the Hump. Got the Hump is easily the worst level to come out of the second game's story mode. Now, for those of you who like it, let me tell you that I'm not saying that it's completely bad, as it has some redeeming qualities, such as its visuals, but other than that, it's the most boring level in the game. All you do in this one is literally walk for 7 minutes straight while shooting projectiles at some obstacles. And the thing is that the camel that you are supposed to ride is actually so slow that it makes this level a pain to play. Not to mention that it sometimes is very difficult and takes very long to beat. I have to tell you though that the music is great, just like in every level of the game. The level feels very repetitive and definitely not replayable if you ask me. But hey, everybody has their own opinion. I might dislike it, but that does not mean you have to dislike it too. Anyway, let's get going. LittleBigPlanet for PS Vita definitely elevated its console mechanics to its fullest, and definitely made it a joy to play throughout its story mode. But there is actually a level here that is not as good as the others, despite its uniqueness. Even though it uses the Vita's tilting mechanic, the worst level from LittleBigPlanet PS Vita, for me, is high-tech tunneling. Even though, as I said, the level is very unique and uses Vita's tilt controls, the level is actually quite annoying sometimes. Having to tilt most of the times for me personally was such a hassle. Maybe it might be because I don't like games that use tilting in general, but despite that I still think that the level compared to the others, it's kind of a lackluster. Its visuals are good and the music is nice, but that's about it. I gotta say though that I really like the theme of Jackpot City, and that makes this level not as bad as the other ones in this list. LittleBigPlanet Karting is one of the best LittleBigPlanet spin-offs out there, and actually the most liked one according to my last poll. Even though personally I think the PS Vita is slightly better, that does not stop me from loving this game. Now, for the worst level of the game, I have to go for the first tutorial level, only because it's very easy and does not have much going for it. The level compared to the later levels is just not that replayable, and before you say anything, I get it. It's just supposed to be a simple level explaining how the game works, and all the basic stuff you need to learn before you dive into the story. But still, it's a good level, but just as some of the levels I talked before, the level compared to the others falls a bit flat because of its simplicity in this occasion. As you all might know by now, I'm one of the most dedicated fans of LittleBigPlanet 3, and as a matter of fact, it is my favorite game along with the second one. LBP 3 in general has an exceptional story mode, but despite that, I believe that it has the worst level in this video. And I know you might be wondering for what level am I talking about. Well, let me tell you, the worst level from the third game of the franchise is Furry Soul's Hot Calls. I still remember playing this level for the first time with my brothers and getting frustrated by how confusing and difficult this level was. The trampolines in this one are a pain as they don't always work properly, and the top-down camera makes it not very enjoyable. The fact that it's the only level 3D doesn't make it justice either. The visuals are okay and the music is very good, but the mechanics are a bit slappy and kinda ruin the experience. Fun fact is that I don't remember playing this level much, except for when I needed all the prize bubble to get the things I wanted in create mode. And of course, to ace it for the prizes in the end. Overall, I really think it is the weakest level in the series, but again, it's my opinion. Let me know if you dislike this level as much as me in the comments. Now, before I move on, I wanted to say that if you are new to the channel, why not consider subscribing, and if you like the video, leave a like as it will really help the channel. I have got many new and fun videos coming, so if you enjoy LittleBigPlanet content, you might as well do that right now. Also, if you want to know the best level from each game, I made a video on it, so click the link in the description or watch it on my channel's page if you want. Anyways, with that out of the way, let's get going. Run Sackboy Run has no levels, as we discussed last time, but just like in the last video, I will be ranking the worst world from this game. For those of you who don't know, Run Sackboy Run consists on 3 worlds, each with a second variation to make it less repetitive and more unique. Now, something that always made me think is why did this game take only 3 themes from the LBP games and not more, as that would have been amazing. Total wasted potential if you ask me. But anyways, for the worst theme here I would have to go for Avalonia's second variation. It's a fun theme, but I just don't like how stupidly difficult it is sometimes. Also, I like how Avalonia looks better on the first version than this one, simply because it is more vibrant and looks less bland. Overall, it's a decent theme, but definitely it's the worst theme from this game. Sackboy Big Adventure has the longest story mode by far from every LittleBigPlanet game ever, but even though it's the longest, the levels are very well made. They are consistently good, but if I had to choose for the worst level of the game, which I clearly should because of, well, content, I have to go for jumping to conclusions. The level compared to the others is less inspiring and it kinda looks like the Knitted Night Trial levels, which in my opinion are better than this level. The visuals look a bit blank and the obstacles are not very creative, so it makes the level feel repetitive at times. The music is good, but not as impressive as the overall soundtrack of the game. The level is a bit easy and feels a bit lacking considering that it is the final level before the final boss. So overall it is a bit disappointing and fails to impress as much as the other levels of the game. Well, looks like we are at the final and latest game in the franchise. And what better way to finish a video about the worst levels than with the worst game of the series. In my opinion, this game should have not existed, as it damages the overall great impact that the LittleBigPlanet series leaves on you. Ultimate Sackboy is basically a Subway Surfer mobile type of game. The worlds in this game compared to Run Sackboy Run are definitely uninspiring. But for the worst theme here, I have to go for the library. It is the worst theme simply because of the lack of visuals and the boring gameplay. Not to mention that sometimes it is very confusing as everything is mostly done in one color. The idea at first is great, but when you see the execution you know that they messed this one up. Anyways, that was all for today's video. Hope you all enjoyed it and please don't be mad about some of the levels here on the list as they are simply my opinions and I have to say that overall LittleBigPlanet has amazing levels. See you next time and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe.